This story takes place when I was in elementary school around the third grade. For this story, I don't remember exactly what my teacher's name was, so for right now, we'll just call her Miss Jenkins. But honestly, during this time, I was an extremely bad child for no particular reason. It was more of I just was never a fan of school. So I always tried to find ways to make it fun, even if that meant annoying classmates or never listening to the teacher's directions. It basically got to a point to where my teacher had my mom's phone number on the speed dial for how much she used to call my mom. Even though my mom would beat me every time my teacher called, it eventually got to a point to where I just didn't care. And my teacher would literally play my mom on speaker while I was committing the act. And I still didn't care. I just continued. Even though, as I said, my mom would beat me every time, I guess, it didn't really register in my mind. I was a really dumb kid when I was younger. Every Monday, my teacher would assign everyone homework, but the night before, my mom had gotten me the Sonic Generation game for the Wii. And let me tell you, it has truly been one of the best times of my childhood sitting down playing that game. It still holds to this day. But anyway, I wanted to spend every second after school playing that game, but I knew that how my teacher's assignments were set up, I wouldn't have that chance. Because at the bottom of the paper for every assignment was a signature part, and your parent had to sign it so that way they knew that you had finished your homework and all of that. Well, my mom was coming home later that night. So if she saw me playing the game, and even though it was finished and she didn't sign it, my mom would get mad at me. Younger me really hated having homework on this Monday because I always thought of kids like cars in the winter. You don't just hop in a car and start it and drive. No, you let it warm up and then slowly but surely you take it for a drive. And I thought that same thing applied to kids, to where you don't give them homework on a Monday. Give them homework on the Wednesday and then let it be due by that Friday so they have enough time. But even though I tried telling my teacher this, she didn't really listen. So it was more just going out one ear out the other. If there was one thing my teacher, Miss Jenkins, remembered not to forget, it was to give us that homework every Monday. There was even a time to where our school got burnt down. If you guys want to hear that story, leave a like, comment, and comment down below about it. But even after that had happened and we had to be in another school, she still remembered to give us homework and all of that. She even sent us packets home just because of those reasons. It was the worst. It was crazy how consistent and dedicated this woman was to giving out homework. But even with that, even with me knowing the fact that I had to have a signature at the bottom, I thought in my mind I was slick enough to lie to my mom and have a foolproof plan. And so what I was going to do was going to tell my mom the teacher was sick that day, so that way we didn't have any homework, because when the teacher isn't there, no one's there to assign the homework, because the sub usually just talks about random things with us. Well, while I was thinking about that, the teacher's passing out the homework and she yells out, make sure you get your paper to your parents so they can sign it, or you will not get a passing grade. Because if your parents don't sign it, then the teacher will automatically fail you, even if the homework is done and all of that. But even still, I thought my plan was foolproof. It was 100%. After the teacher passed out the homework, I just shove it at the bottom of my book bag and completely forget about it the whole day, because I knew my mom was coming home later on that night. So what I can do is I can say that, oh, the teacher was sick and all of that, and you don't have to worry about the homework this time. Well, when my mom got home that night, the first thing she asked me was, where's your homework? And I said, oh, the teacher was sick today and they didn't give us any homework since we had a sub. And without any questions, my mom just left it alone. The following day, the next part of my plan was going to happen, which was signing the paper in the morning before the teacher could ask for it. Since I didn't have a pencil or pen in my book bag, I was a really slow kid. I didn't have anything to prepare me for that day. But as soon as I got to school, the teacher was at the door collecting the papers. Now, how our school is set up, when you walk through the front door, my class was one of the first doors on the right side. So it could see the front door, but on the left side was the front office. And then as you keep going, there's a bathroom that's like right in front of the front door. So with that, I thought that if I can maneuver around the teacher and go straight to the front office without her like seeing me, I could use one of their pens and sign the papers. So that way she didn't have to like say anything. Now, with that being said, I didn't realize my teacher was at the front door collecting the papers. I didn't plan that. So even though I probably didn't look sneaky at all, I probably looked very obvious. I was over here trying to kind of sidestep out of my teacher's way, and she clearly saw me. She looked directly at me, but for some reason in my mind I thought it was invisible for a minute, and I just let it happen. And so when I finally get to the front office, I asked one of the administrators for a pencil, and without me realizing it, I had completely forgotten how my mom's signature even worked. So since I was such on a time limit before the whole bell rings and stuff, I just thought, you know what, let me just scribble a circle where the signature is, because I thought that's how all adult signatures look like, basically, when it came down to it. And man, that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done. But when I finally did it, the teacher saw me walking out from the administrator's office, from the front office, and just takes my paper and doesn't say a word about it. And she just kind of just looks at me for a second. Now that I'm older, I do question my younger self more and more. Thank God I've changed. But anyway, after I finished all of that, the teacher kind of just looks at the paper and then looks at me, and she says, "Are you sure your mom signed this?" And myself thought, let me play the smart ass card. And I was like, yeah, my mom, obviously she signed this. You know how my mom is. She stays on top of the whole homework situation. Make sure I do it every day. But today she was really tired. She got off of work really late. So that's why the signature looks like that. And the teacher just looks at me and walks away. Halfway through class, I had to go to the bathroom. And I get up and I ask my teacher, can I use the bathroom and all of that stuff? And after that brief second, she gives me this sadistic smile and just says, go, but hurry up. And doesn't say anything afterwards. And how I said my school was set up, the bathroom was 5 feet away. It wasn't that far from my class, and it wasn't that far from the front door. And so while I'm using, and how the bathroom is it's made for it's made for a single person. Well, as I was using the bathroom, I heard like out of nowhere a loud banging noise on the door. And it startled me to the point to where I ended up missing the whole entire toilet. And the loud banging continued for like 5 more seconds until all of a sudden I heard my mom's voice, and she said, "I know you lied about the homework and you forged my signature. I've already spoken to your teacher." And as of that moment, my heart dropped and I knew I was fucked. I was so terrified that I just froze still when she said that. Even after my mom said that, I kind of just stood there I didn't know what to do because I knew I was caught. But what was my next plan? What was my next move? And for 5 more seconds, my mom just banging on the door until finally she was able to somehow talk to a janitor and somehow get him into unlocking the door. When that had happened, I didn't even realize my mom had a belt in one hand and she just locked the door again. And for 10 minutes straight, she beat the living shit out of me to the point to where there was teachers and administrators like outside the door, and they're over here knocking like, "Are you okay, ma'am?" Because they can just hear me screaming and crying. After my mom finished beating me and all of that stuff, the worst part was, as I was walking out of the bathroom, I just see a crowd of different teachers and administrators, and they're just trying to talk to my mom. Mom is just ignoring them, and she's just walking with me holding my hand, and then she just tells me to go back to class, and she doesn't say a word to me for the rest of that day, even afterwards. But I'll tell you this, for the rest of that semester, I never did act up as worse or ever try that again, because it truly had traumatized me when I was younger. Thank you everyone that stuck out to hear the whole video. And if you guys want to see more content like this, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And you guys have a great rest of the day.